Yeah, they were saying that rock and roll was dead about 10 minutes after it came out. By the time Elvis Presley got back from Germany and did his tour duty, it was definitely on its way. The British had already carpe diem. They seized the moment, they seized the day, and it got a little muddled. But that rock and roll shit didn't last too long. Shut the fuck up over there. When back in the day, it was organized. When it turned into, and then it got kind of moddy. But before there was, around the time of those bands, like those pre psychedelia bands, it was rocker and mod. You dressed alike. You wore maybe some like red coats, some sport coats, trousers, and you wore the same shoes. You had some medallions, maybe. You guys wore rings. You had your hair a certain way, and you would have standards. And that's the last time really to stand. Like, think of all the when you went for a recording test, or for a label to make your own record. There was no money in your own publishing. People were still writing songs. There was still the Brill Building. There was still, um, you know, in that era, it was still Goffin and King. It was still a bunch of songwriters. You didn't write songs as a band. So therefore, every time you went in for an album, you would have to do somebody else's singles so that you can keep making money on the publishing. And the Mob with Payola and shit like that. Like, and if you were a band back then, it was your duty to learn 10 to 13 songs, and some of them would be Walking the Dog, Johnny Burnett's Train Kept a Rolling, you know, things like I'm a Man, things like Gloria, things like Wild Thing. Certain, yeah, songs like that you were expected to know. If you were a band, and you better know those songs. When the psychedelic era broke and the whole Vito Pelikas freaker hippie scene broke out, there was no such thing as a fucking hippie in the first place. It didn't exist. There wasn't hippies. It was a bunch of rich people playing dress up, and Laurel Canyon pretty much took over from coast to coast, songwriting, and there was no more Walking the Dog, Train Kept a Rolling, or or Wild Thing anymore. You know what I mean? You were now dealing with a select group of different songwriters, and the money was funneled right back in to the West Coast. Now, that was our answer to the Beatles. We distributed the Beatles in America, and then that's what became of it. Did you notice that Aerosmith, all the way into like the '70s, they were still doing songs like "Train Kept a Rolling" and "Walking the Dog" and shit like, and you knew where they must have come from. They must have been wearing suits at one point in the '60s, and because that shit was highly outdated by then. You know what I mean? Johnny Burnett, that was a big deal. That was some greaser rock. That was your answer to Gene Vincent, a bow-legged Gene Vincent's dragging the mic around the stage. Lil Ba loves that shit. She understands what it is. When I break it, I tell her. I break it down for her. But yeah, music is truly dead. When's the last time you heard an actual song with an actual intro, an actual chorus or verse, an actual hook? Any asshole can sit down at his computer now, get a copy of an 808, which is, to me, is the worst drum machine that was ever fucking made. The thing sounds like shit. And you know, pay $50 for a VST auto tune plug-in, and that's why I don't concentrate on music much anymore. Just getting my dick off, slapping sticky dickhead on that Milabot part, you know, just strings coming off that motherfucker from the clitty to the dickhead. Oh God, fully unloaded all over that little mound, shaved right down to the perfect little mound. Bend down and kiss that motherfucker. Grab her by the neck, kiss her on the lips. Worried look on Milabot as we listen to Johnny Burnett records. She knows what the fuck that is. You know? That worried meal about face. Daddy, please. Oh. And you know this is a conspiracy because Deerhead I would have been fucking Deerhead by now. I would have fucked her, broken up with her, fucked her, broken up with her, fucked her, broken up with her, got her pregnant, broken up with her 10 times already, and she would have dragged me into a sea of drugs. That's what God intended, I think. Unless you got a better God who's got better plans for me. But you know this shit's a conspiracy. That Deerhead should be a pregnant bitch. A, and if need be, a fucking battered, fucking pregnant bitch in the bedroom, just a little bit, just gentle light slaps on the fucking Deerhead face. You disobey me, bitch. No, no. Deerhead, Deerhead should be fucking pregnant. We should have like a 10-year-old by now. The way I think about it, she should have been pregnant soon after I broke up with Summer. She should have had to go back and tell Summer she's pregnant. Aaron's baby. Now the Mealbot's got to get it. Rip her fucking head off. Did you see that? Keep sending the cars by. Like, did you see that little girl who drove by yesterday with bright red hair, stuck her tongue out at the light for me? My dick immediately swelled. It took 2 seconds and it was fully hard. Had to reach down and tug at my pajama pants and massage my dickhead. I was like, I can't believe I just seen that. Remind me of the cascading ivory ropes I'm about to throw in Deerhead's hair. Fucking gluey bot. Nodding bot. Fucking headlight bot. Oh, Deerhead. It would be awesome though to go to where the bands are. Like, there's probably quite a few bands left on the West Coast. I would like organize a fucking '60s night. Nobody would want to do it, but we'd come and we'd play all. We'd have to sit through every guy's rendition of it. Kind of like the '90s. You would have to sit through other people's Misfit covers and shit like that, and covers of the Dead Boys and covers of exploited songs. Kind of like the same thing, and you'd have to sit through 5 versions of Walking the Dog, and who played I'm a Man better. You know, I would do that. Perch little bot up on the PA speaker, buzz that little clit, smiling bot, looking down, watching the devastation unfold, screaming bot, clapping bot.